have with me now Mr. Arthur Hanna, Associate Professor, World Energy Council. Welcome to Abu Dhabi. The session we just saw was fostering future energy industry expertise and leadership through mentorship. Highlights about it, please.
Well, I think the key aspect is mentorship is going to be critically important for the industry. Why? Because the industry is changing. We're moving from an existing energy system to a very new one that is going to bring in new sources of energy, but also a new ecosystem in terms of the way in which we deliver energy. And so with that context, we have to attract talent not only to come into the industry, but we've also got to retain talent within the industry as well. And in that spirit, mentorship is really important, but mentorship in multiple different ways. And that's what we talked about. There is obviously top-down mentorship, making sure that you are mentoring other individuals. But as I talked about, there's also reverse mentorship. People of my age who are at the end of their careers and are senior leaders, we need to understand that there are new agendas that we don't understand. And so as a leader, I need to be mentored as much as I can provide mentorship as well. There are also different ways in which mentorship can be delivered. It doesn't always have to be one-to-one. It can be delivered in a micro way, a small piece of advice to a fellow employee, either given or received. But it also, we've seen circles of mentorship. In other words, groups of individuals coming together to help mentor, listen to each other. And one of the points that I mentioned that I do think is important and was helpful to me, to be a mentor, it's critical to be able to listen and absorb, and then to offer some advice. And sometimes you don't even need to offer advice. Sometimes the only thing you need to do is listen.
Let me talk a bit about the work environment. The standard before is no longer the same. Is it possible that we can predict future trends so we can be well prepared for it?
Well, I think the nature of work is changing, and not just in terms of the business that we'll be in. And what I mean by that is that essentially we'll be broad energy companies going forward. Yes, hydrocarbons will remain important, but electrons will be part of that model as well. Many of the organizations that we see here at ADIPEC are talking about changing their business model to be closer to consumers. So what will be different and how can we predict it is that we know the way in which we'll do business will be different. The sooner we recognize that, the sooner we can understand the capabilities that will be required for that. But I do think one of the major changes is that the way in which we deliver energy services will likely be made up of partnerships and collaboration.
Professor, I have to ask you as an expert, between ambitions and reality, it looks to me that reality is winning and because of all the changes and the geopolitics. Who's the winner?
Well, I don't think there are any winners. I think this is the point, is that there's no winner or loser. I think basically the issue that we've faced this year is everyone loses. That's the issue that we faced. And as a result of that, we've recognized, albeit I would say too late, that our energy system is complex and it needs to change sooner rather than later. And if we are even to survive, let alone winners or losers, we know we're going to have to change. And I think, again, when we see at conferences like this, a decarbonization zone would have been a little poster event up on the third floor here at ADIPEC 4 years ago. It's a major zone here today. Hydrogen was always that fuel of the future. Again, a poster event on the third floor. Now there is a major conference associated with it. So even though these are only baby steps, they are nevertheless steps, and they are a demonstration that money, capital and people, entrepreneurs and businesses are getting behind that movement. Have we made enough progress? Of course we haven't. Have we made progress? Yes, we have. And I do think the stimulus of what's been called a poly-crisis, not just the energy crisis, but financial crisis, food poverty crisis, etc., etc. These are all amazing stimuluses that are forcing our industry to recognize it's going to have to change sooner rather than later.